A quick tip on stride to turnover ratio. So you hear this talked about a lot in speed and sprint mechanics. And what I want to explain to you is that if you get the knee flexion and you're in good posture, a good pelvic tilt and neutral pelvis, then you really don't have to worry about it as much as it talked about. You don't have to feel like you're overstriding or understriding, and that's what I'm going to explain here. So if we get our good posture, right, our hips are neutral, our abs are tight, we're flat in front, and we're leaning over the top, so our shoulders are over our hips are over our toes, and then we drive our knee up into that flexion and our hip into that flexion, and we get slightly below parallel, that's going to be the size of our stride. So if we work that recovery leg from here and we don't kick back and it's not a swing, it's a drive, this is where we need to go, and then we work that extension through. That's our cycle. That is our natural cycle. There's no need to overextend or bound. There's no need to cut it short. So some people go here and right back down. We extend on the way down, hit that spot right in front of the center of our gravity, push backwards and propel ourselves forward. The difference here is what happens is this is how you change it. If you're running a longer race, let's say it's track and running 200, 400, 800, you're not going to drive with all your force down every time because you cannot maintain that. So you're going to drive to here and then float almost or move down, not forcefully drive down, but it's the same cycle. But that will open up your cycle because you're not going down toward the ground as fast as you were, let's say, in a 100 or a 40-yard dash. The other aspect we want to look at here is then if we get that flexion and we're driving it through, we talk about stride to turnover, right? You want that ratio. If you drive up, you have your stride as long as you get your recovery leg back up, and your turnover then is dictated by your race. So most of us are working 10 yards, 40 yards, 100 yards. If you're track, obviously you're working longer distance. But anything typically under 100 yards, we're trying to get that stride and then violently move through that force or that cycle with as much force as possible, and that's our ratio. The faster you can move through that cycle. So you don't move faster by cutting everything short. You keep the same size cycle, you work that recovery leg, you work down as fast as you can, up as fast as you can, and all of a sudden, boom, there you have it, stride to turnover ratio, and it's not overcomplicated. So don't do that. Don't work with yourself or tell your athletes, hey, you got to jump to it or you got to bound to it or overstride or work all those things. You just drive that knee up, you focus on driving down, you cycle through with that recovery leg. There it is, stride to turnover ratio.